Welcome to 18th Century Cooking. I'm your host, John Townsend. Today we've got a special guest in the kitchen, Joe Pera. Welcome, Joe.
Hello.
And we're going to be cooking a thatched house pie. This is going to be fun. Thank you for joining us today as we savor the flavors and the aromas of the 18th century. Joe, I want to thank you for coming in to help us out with this recipe.
Of course, I'll always show up for pie.
This recipe comes from the Experienced English Housekeeper by Elizabeth Raffold. It's 1769. Could you read us this recipe, Joe?
Of course. A thatched house pie. Take an earthen dish that is pretty deep, rub the inside with 2 ounces of butter, then spread over it 2 ounces of vermicelli. Make a good puff paste and roll it pretty thick, and lay it on the dish. Take 3 or 4 pigeons, season them very well with pepper and salt, and put a good lump of butter in them, and lay them in the dish with the breast down, and put a thick lid over them, and bake it in a moderate oven. When enough, take the dish you intend for it, and turn the pie onto it, and the vermicelli will appear like a thatch, which gives it the name of thatched house pie. It's a pretty side or corner dish for a large dinner, or a bottom for a supper. Sounds pretty straightforward.
It does sound pretty straightforward. It doesn't need a whole lot of interpretation. So today, instead of using pigeon, we're going to be using quail because I have access to some quail.
Nice.
I mean, maybe you got pigeon there in New York, but
Yeah, you can kind of just go out and grab them.
so there you go. We don't have a lot of pigeon here, at least in the grocery store.
Sure.
Right.
Back in this period, how would you go about getting the pigeon? Would you trap them or shoot them?
Well, in this case, it calls for pigeon, and pigeon and doves, very, very similar birds, and they would keep something like doves. They would have dove cotes, so little houses for doves to come in, and they would sleep there at night and just go out and feed during the day, like you would have loose chickens. And if you needed doves for your dish, well, you just go and get them at night because that's where they roost.
Interesting. Oh, did not know that.
Yeah. So the first step here is to butter this bowl. It calls for buttering of like 2 ounces of butter. Obviously, it's a bigger bowl than we have here, but I might have a full ounce of butter. There's a reason why we would have all this butter in here. It's because we need this vermicelli to stick in a thatched roof style. And since this is the challenging part, I'm gonna give Joe the job of figuring out how to arrange those vermicellis in the bottom of this, kind of stick it into that butter, and give us a thatched roof, your interpretation of a thatched roof.
I'll do my best. So this is a pretty meticulous, I guess it's kind of just a miniature version of having to do an actual roof like you did.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations on that, by the way.
Well, it was fun.
Yeah.
It certainly is nice to have a finished roof that doesn't leak on you while you're trying to do things.
Right. I can imagine. Am I doing this somewhat right?
You're doing it perfectly.
Okay. I never made a quail pie before, but I really want to. Probably the only one I will ever do in my life, so I want to make sure it's decent.
Well, when you get back to New York, you can do pigeon.
Hey, it's free. I saw the video where you made a fish pie that looked like a fish, and now we're making a pie that looked like a house. Was it the kind of a theme to make food that looked like objects back then?
Yeah, they had a lot of fun with that sort of thing. They would also do things like making their recipes for a sham pig. So that you would make something that was the shape of a pig, but made out of something else, like mashed potatoes. They would also take.
That's wild.
It would also take a whole bird and skin it, cook it, maybe even make a sausage type of a product out of it, and then put it back in the skin, sew it up. And then you would cut into this thing and it would be totally different on the inside.
Yeah. I guess if somebody served that at a dinner party today, you'd probably call them nuts. But it sounds interesting. I mean, it sounds like, I suppose you had a bit more time to cook and put attention into details back then.
Certainly. I think we're looking pretty good. I think we can stop at that point.
Okay.
I can stop torturing you with the thatch. You're not nervous about that, are you?
I don't want to ruin this pie.
It's going to be good. It's going to be good. Don't worry. We're going to set that aside. And now it's time to make the paste. So have you ever made pie crust?
Yeah, a while ago.
Good, good. So a lot of people are scared of making pie crust.
Yeah, I know, but it always tastes better than the store-bought stuff.
You know it, 100% of the time. We have 2 cups of flour, regular all-purpose flour. I don't know. We're going to add some butter.
Nice.
Cold butter we diced up nice and small. No, we're not gonna use all of it, most of it. So we've got our butter in here. Joe, you want to rub this butter in?
It'd be a dream. Is there anything I should keep in mind as I do it?
Well, you're trying to break that butter all into the flour, and you don't want to heat it up with your fingers. You want that butter to stay cold.
Sure.
So sort of rub it in and then move on to the next section. And just rub it so that it gets all down into the smallest little portions possible.
Sure.
Okay, let's take a look. Looks perfect. Good job, Joe.
Thanks.
I will add a little bit of cold water in here.
Sure.
We want just enough cold water to bring this into a ball. We don't need the least quantity of water possible.
Gotcha.
But it's not sort of clumping up yet, so we're gonna add a little bit more. Now we can start to see, it just sort of starts to want to turn into a paste for us. We still have a little bit of stuff in the bottom. It's starting to smell good though, all that butter.
Yeah, it does. And back in the 18th century, they always made sure to wash their hands after using the bathroom before cooking, right?
Every single time.
That's good.
You didn't have to worry about that. So let's get this out on the table. Let me just, it's definitely gonna hold together for us. You take that for a second. Let me spread some flour here on our work surface. Oh, there's a little bit of water. That's not gonna help us out any. And yeah, turn that out on there. There it is. Oh gosh, sorry. No, it's perfect. We'll just bring that together. And we'll see if we can pick these pieces up real quick. Might just need a hair bit more water. Okay, but we'll see. We'll see. Just dribble a little bit there in the middle. That's good. Luckily, this does not need to be the lightest, fluffiest pie crust in the universe. Okay. So if we, if we have to work it a little bit more, it's not going to hurt it any. Yeah. Here, let me get a little bit of flour on that. There you go, Joe. Have at it.
You guys are really putting me to work.
So let me just cut this into a bit of a circle here so that we don't have to fight it. There we go. Got that. And there you go. And we're going to quarter this so that it lays in properly. So we can get the center in without disturbing it.
That's really clever.
So, oh, my wife told me how to do it. So here we go. We're gonna lay the center in like that. We're gonna open up our quarters. And then, again, not disturbing all that wonderful vermicelli that you put in earlier.
I worked so hard on that.
That's
vermicelli.
right. We don't want to mess it up. So then we get this, and it's thick, right? She calls for a nice thick crust. That's good. That'll bring a lot of wonderful texture and flavor, and it has to seal this up. We don't want to lose the moisture of our birds. So let's get this smushed in here. And I'm pressing this in so that the vermicelli is in the paste itself, so that it gives us the right look and doesn't just fall off. Because we're going to turn this over, and we don't want our thatch to just drop off.
No. Same as the regular roof.
Now it's time to work on our birds.
Love that sentence.
And we've got our birds now. These need to be buttered inside and out.
Love that sentence even more.
I've got 3 birds here. I think we're only going to use 2. So grab yourself some butter here.
Okay.
And we're just going to take our bird and just going to butter him up.
Okay.
And we want to make sure that the butter goes all over the outside of our bird and into the cavity in the center.
Okay.
Now we need plenty of salt and pepper.
Okay.
And that's the nice thing about the the butter in here is that we've got, oh boy, that's a lot. But we want to get that everywhere.
Sure. Okay, I used a lot of pepper.
I like pepper. You can't go wrong.
No.
Pepper.
Can I ask you, in terms of seasoning, would you prefer classic salt and pepper or nutmeg?
For a period dish, I mean, many times nutmeg would go in here, and I would definitely put nutmeg in. Yeah. But this one doesn't, so maybe if they weren't looking, we could add some. You know,
they won't know. They don't have to know.
Exactly. Let us put these birds in, as it says, breast down. So, there's mine placed in there.
Okay.
Yours is placed in there. There we go. Let's see. Birds.
Kind of qualifies as a Halloween dish, maybe.
Let me see how a third one would fit in here. And I just don't think he's going to fit. He might. He might.
Should we go for it?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead.
If you're at a restaurant, you could advertise a 3-bird pie as opposed to 2-bird pie.
It's definitely going to bring more folks in.
Our pies have 3 birds. That's right. What is your favorite quail dish, would you say?
I'll have to think about that one.
Or pigeon dish? Or
yes. I think this is the best way to do it because it's so simple. We don't want to cover up our bird with too fancy of a dish. So sometimes they'll have lots and lots of different kinds of gravy, and you're hiding then the flavor of your bird. So if you're gonna have something as special as quail, you don't want to hide it behind a fancy sauce or gravy.
That makes sense. I guess I could wait till it's finished, but is there a difference between like flavor of quail or versus a larger bird?
We're going to have more dark meat in this, and as far as I'm concerned, dark meat is more flavorful. So it's going to be a more flavorful bird.
Yeah, hard to argue with that.
What do you think, Joe?
Should we get it into the moderate oven?
Yeah, it goes into a moderate oven. You would probably cook this in a modern oven at 325, 350 degrees. We don't want it to be too hot because it'll brown or blacken our pie crust before the insides get cooked. Right. So we want it to cook kind of slow, especially if you've got lots of dense meat in there. Mm-hmm. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and push it up to probably 350, and it may take as long as an hour to bake. It really depends on how big our dish is. Yep. I did in one earlier and it was dense. It took almost 2 hours, but I don't think this one will take as long.
Okay.
So we're gonna take it out to the earthen oven that's already been prepared up to heat.
Sounds great.
Joe, it's out of the oven and it looks good.
Very good. Better than I thought it would when I put all the noodles in.
Yeah. And it smells good, and that's the test as far as I'm concerned.
My test is, are these birds cooked enough? But
Hey.
I'm willing to eat it no matter how cooked or raw they are.
Oh,
That's my promise
I
right
don't
now.
think so. So I think what we're going to do is just, you know, it would come to the table like this. It would be set, as she says, you know, in the corner of the table. And it came out looking pretty, and then it's time to serve it. So the question is does this really look like a thatched house pie?
With some imagination, I hope I did a good enough job.
I mean, we could put little people or a doorway. I mean, if we really wanted to. I don't think that's what they were really trying to go for. Maybe if we baked it a little bit longer at a hotter temperature, the color differential might have been made more. But, you know, I think it's just an idea, and it was fun. And I don't know that it has to be that much better.
No, it's definitely more exciting than just a regular meat pie on its own.
You know it.
I know it.
Let me put this one on your plate.
Okay.
I think this is the one you prepared. There you go.
At least
Enjoy.
it's a miniature bird for sure.
There he is.
Wow, that smells really nice.
Yeah.
It almost, it almost smells a little bit more like turkey than chicken to me.
It might have, again, a lot more sort of dark meat to it, and maybe a little more gamey.
Okay.
I think I'm going to take a drumstick.
That sounds good. You almost need smaller utensils for a smaller bird. Cheers.
Oh, that is really good.
I mean, butter, salt, and pepper.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. It's weird how good this tastes. I can't believe it. Yeah. Because they don't get quite as brown as if you had roasted them without the pie. So it kind of makes you wonder, are they cooked, aren't they? Because if somebody served me a chicken out of the oven this color, I would be a little nervous.
Well, this is, it's kept all the juices in. If we would roast this, we would lose so much of that moisture and we get a dry chicken, but this is just so moist.
I agree. This might, I don't know, perhaps gross some people out, but thinking about eating the bottom with all the juice in it would probably be pretty tasty.
Oh yeah. Well, since we turned this over, these were in the very bottom.
Oh, so if should we split the roof in half and have a taste?
Yes, definitely. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let's find out how that crust worked out. It's got that wonderful chicken flavor built right in. Well, I think this turned out fabulous. And it's so much fun. We get to see the thatched roof. We get to take the roof off. We get to enjoy this amazing miniature bird in here. I'm so glad that we had a chance to actually find miniature birds to put in here instead of just chicken pieces, right?
Definitely.
Because it was a fun experiment.
It's like eating it is kind of an event in itself. Taking the roof off, taking the little chickens, or quail, forgive me. I don't want to offend the quail fans. But yeah, no, it's an experience, and If we hadn't had to wait an hour in the oven, it would be pretty simple to make at home if you can get your hands on some quail.
Right, and you know, a Cornish game hen would even fill up, you know, just one in the dish. It might be a little different, but it would be fun nonetheless.
Definitely.
A great dish that is easy to do, right? I mean, make a little paste. You could even buy your pie crust if you really wanted to, but it's just so much fun to make your own. And a little bit of salt and pepper butter and a bird, and off you go. You've got this wonderful, fun dish that everyone can enjoy. So,
Yeah.
Joe, thank you for coming in.
It was such a pleasure and like a real dream to help you cook. Yeah. So thank you for including me.
Well, you've been a joy to have as a guest. If you want to tell folks about what you do, they may not be familiar with Joe Pera.
Yeah, I'll keep it simple because I'm sure everybody's running to make their own thatched house pie. But yeah, you just got a show on Adult Swim called Joe Pera Talks with You. And yeah, it's a good comedy show. And I don't know, I don't want to, check it out if you want. It's not as good as this, but it is pretty good, I think.
But it's good, it's good. And it has been a great time here in the kitchen today. I hope you get a chance to try out a pie like this. So much fun. And if you'd like another similar episode, you will enjoy this one.